And she said this. She said, you know what? When your dad walked in there, he went straight to your cradle, picked you up, and said, that's my boy, and began to cry. Now, if you knew my dad, he don't cry, like ever. I mean, you know, you get him with a baseball, he'd go, hey, don't. All right, seriously, that's my pops. Some of you guys know my dad. He's like that, right? And so anyway, so Mom, you know, and I remember her saying, and we chose you, and you were picked. And I remember that from 2 years old. I remember that like just growing up, and I first started school. I seriously remember being at school and looking at my friends, and I remember thinking this. Yeah, I was chosen. Your mom and daddy stuck with you. And then friends started disappearing. No, I'm kidding. All right, it's like, no, we ain't. Bobby gone, you know. And I remember thinking that growing up, going, man, I'm chosen. Man, my mom and dad picked me. Of course, my dad would always say later, you got to know him. He goes, worst decision of my life. And he was kidding, all right, you know, because of this, basically. And I remember just thinking, man, I'm chosen. You know, you guys, your parents were stuck with you. Some of them can't wait till you go off to college, but my dad says they never leave. But anyway, you know, the thing was I was chosen. And I remember really, you know, being okay with that, thinking that was pretty cool that Kenneth and Carol Laufer took me in and made me their child. I still remember having memories of, man, my dad literally took in a strange little snotty-nosed diapery thing, you know, and went, you're a Laufer. Wasn't until 5th grade. Something happened in 5th grade. Because, I mean, I'm going along doing my thing, and I'm like, that's cool being adopted. I love being adopted. It's all right. It's all good. 5th grade, my aunt wrote a book. See, something about the Laufers, and I know you all really care about this. My great-grandfather, Jacob, was a colonel in the Russian revolt, in the Russian Revolution. And he fled that because, you know, he didn't want to die. Okay? So he ran off to the Volga River, and then in 1902, he sold everything he had. He was a wealthy landowner, land baron. Sold everything that he had to get to America. Now, here's the only thing I didn't understand. He went to Oklahoma. You know, I mean, I'll be honest with you. Texas looks better than Oklahoma. I'm just saying. No, I love Oklahoma. I love walking outside and having dust go into my lungs and having to go have surgery to open up the lungs, pull out the dust. Here's my hometown. My hometown, basically, here's what it looks like. From my house, no lie, I can see the curvature of the world. No, I'm not kidding. No, I'm serious. Y'all see people, I tell people that. I know y'all been Southwest Oklahoma. You know what I'm talking about. I mean, it literally, you can look down my street and it goes, whoop. If Columbus would have gone to Hobart, Oklahoma, he'd have found out, you know. He'd have found out a lot quicker, but that's what I grew up in, you know. So I'm just being honest with you. My great-grandfather moved from the beautiful Volga River with trees and rivers and beauty to Oklahoma. He wasn't a smart man. But anyway, so my aunt decided to write a book because apparently he was like some wealthy guy. I want to go back there and like, you know, go, anybody related to me because I'm poor? But, you know, I'm not going to do that. So she wrote a book on the Laufer family history about how great-grandpa Jacob moved over from the Volga River to the luscious lands of Southwest Oklahoma, you know, the sand and dirt and bugs. And in that book, she did a genealogy, family tree, right? And so like my dad, his dad, my grandfather, Walter, had 9 brothers and sisters. So it basically went through their listing, all the family members, like Walter married Edna, such and such date, had Kenneth, such and such, he married Carol, and then it went on to my aunt, and then there was Helen, who married Ralph, and it said, Jane, my cousin, born on such and such, Alan, my cousin, born on such and such. Now listen, then it gets to Kenneth and Carol, adopted Beverly and Kevin. That's it. No dates of birth, no nothing. Now, here's the deal. I'm 5th grade. I don't care. My sister took it pretty hard, real hard. But I was like, oh, so what? Until a couple of days after the big party, we had a book signing, the whole 9 yards, and my aunt really thought she was some kind of writer. Anyway, so we had this big deal. The next couple of days, I go to school, and my cousin walks up to me. Now, guys, here's the deal about me. I will be very truthful with you. I'll be very blunt with you. Tomorrow, you're going to see, as I just speak truth, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't believe in lying to you, so I'm just going to talk blunt. My cousin walks up to me, and he goes, my mom says you're a bastard. Now, 5th grade. I knew some words, okay, fellas? You know what I'm saying. I knew some words. I didn't really know that one, but I knew it was wrong. And I can't tell you, I mean, this is hard to explain, But immediately when I heard that word, my mama says you're a bastard, from my own cousin, I felt dirty. I felt horrible. Okay, 5th grade. Think with me, 5th grade. Fortunately, I had a pretty innocent lifestyle until, about junior year in high school. Not because of me, but because of a sibling. At 5th grade, I had thoughts of, well, did my mommy and daddy mess around the back of a car and decide they didn't want me? You get where I'm going with this? I had all these feelings inside of me. Well, what did I do that my mama said, I don't want you? What did I do to my daddy to make him say, I don't want you? And for a couple of days, I was one jacked up little 5th grader because I felt dirty. I mean, that's the only word I can think of to tell you how I felt. I carried that around for a while, and then I went over to my grandmother's house. And I went over to my grandmother's house every day, and she kind of babysat me because my dad's a farmer. We lived out of town, and when my mom got off work, she'd come and get me. So anyway, I'm kind of moping around Granny's house. One thing you got about my Granny, funniest woman on the planet. I mean, she was amazing. Everybody this day says, you get your sense of humor from your grandmother. I mean, we would just sit there and cut each other down. I mean, she was amazing. But you also didn't mess with my grandmother. She would kill you. Okay. And she always made these cinnamon rolls, and I just knew people she didn't like were in that mix. I mean, because, tasted real good, you know what I'm saying? Secrets in the sauce. So, I'm like, you don't mess with grandma. So anyway, I'm pouting around, I'm like, and guys, I'm being dead honest. I just felt dirty. I felt useless. I felt unworthy. And she goes, Grandma, she goes, well, honey, baby, what's wrong? What's wrong? I said, well, I told her the story. I said, cousin said, I couldn't even say it. It's your grandmother, What did he say? That's what she did. And, he called me, I just said it. He called me a bastard. And she went, what did he say? I'm trembling. And she said, don't move. And she walks over to the telephone. How many of y'all still have cords on your phone? Does anybody have a cord on their phone? Do you remember the 40-foot cord? Does anybody remember the 40-foot cord? Brother representative, you know what I'm saying? So, you grab the phone and you walk to Dallas Metro. What's up? I'm on the phone. Grandma goes over, grabs the phone, and she's like spinning. And she looks like a mummy. She's like this. And she said, put the woman on. She gets my cousin's mom on the phone. And we're in church, so I'm not going to say everything that she said. But my grandmother went to town, is what we call it. And I hear my grandma going, I'm like, oh, Grandma's a terrorist. She's going to kill her. Don't kill her, Granny. I'm serious. And I remember just standing there, and I'm going, Jesus, rapture would be really good right now. Rapture, rapture. She unwinds kind of like a tornado, like a little top, and I mean literally slams the phone, bam, turned around to me and went, whoop, and I went, you think I'm kidding? I mean, I could feel it going down my leg. Grandma, I didn't do it, And she said, look at me. Look at me. I'm looking. She said this. She goes, you stand up straight. Of course, I went. And then she put her finger right here. That hurts, And she went, look at me in the eyes. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. And she said this, you are more of a Laufer than that woman ever will be. And don't you ever hang your head. Yes, ma'am. My grandma taught me something. Hey, let me be honest. Never hung my head since. And she's been dead for 20 years. I'm still scared of her. No, I don't hang my head because the message of what she said was true. You're a Laufer. What Granny was saying was, your daddy, my boy, went and got you and gave him your name and made you rightful heir to his stuff. Don't you let anyone talk to you like that ever again. You are a Laufer. And then she ended it this way. I got to throw this in for free. And you are my grandson. And I was like, word, Granny. We started a little gang. We had jackets, I was like, what's up? You talking about me? Bam,